What makes a fighter go from being one of the best or being one of the most popular or biggest hype train whatever to absolutely nothing? Today I picked 3 specific fighters which I think best illustrate why majority of fighters' careers go off a cliff, with the first one being Conor McGregor.
I don't know, we'll see what happens, you know what I mean? Just keep positive and again, keep believing, keep training, keep trying to learn every day, trying to learn new shit every day. Believe in yourself and be cocky and be confident and be humble, train hard. That's it, just...
Conor now is a complete degenerate, which is completely acceptable. He's made so much money, he can do whatever he wants. Who am I to tell him? But the issue is he wants to come back. Don't come back. Leave your career as it was. Do not tarnish it. You lost to Khabib, whatever, just go on your yacht and go snort some coke, please. But his prime version was something extraordinary. I mean, first of all, the trash talking. He had such charisma. He had such a wave of words.
These custom-made suits aren't cheap. You know what I mean? This solid gold pocket watch. 3 people died making this watch, you know what I mean?
He didn't talk too much, but he just knew when to punch in with his catchy one-liners. Maybe he goes on a spiel. He starts breaking down his opponent. He just knew what to say and do at the right moment. Also, his mindset. He was focused, zen, didn't let any other being try and infiltrate his internal, which I find very overlooked. Usually people just talk about the trash talking and that's it, but his mindset was truly special. Not like today where you can piss him off by saying something on Twitter and it having a bunch of likes. No, back then nobody can say shit to him. Nobody. He just trained and that was it. That's all he cared about. Another thing that helped him in these years was his style. Very front heavy, very boxing oriented, which is what majority of MMA fans only care about. He had a bunch of KOs except for that Max Holloway fight, which to be honest with you, I completely forgot they fight. Conor and Max Holloway fought. It went to a decision in Conor's favor. I completely forgot. Some fights that come to mind is the Chad Mendes.
Conor, do you know what wrestling is?
I could rest my balls on your forehead.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody was saying, oh, he's a wrestler, how are you gonna do against a wrestler? Completely destroyed him. Jose Aldo, obviously the 13-second knockout. I mean, that clip, I think I've seen that knockout maybe 100 times, to be honest with you. And the absolute dismantle of Eddie Alvarez. I feel bad for Eddie Alvarez, how he got done that night. That fight must haunt him in his dreams forever. I can only imagine. Now, Conor McGregor was a double champion in a smaller promotion before the UFC, and his main goal was he wanted to replicate that into the UFC. So you might think he achieved that. He only had 1 loss in the UFC, which was Nate Diaz, which he avenged. We can only go up from here, right? Right?
I have an unhealthy obsession with spending money, but I have a healthy obsession with making it. So it's all good.
Money. I am recording this video on equipment I bought with money, that I am uploading it with my internet access that I got with money, and you're watching it on a device that you bought with money. Everything, clothes on your back, food, water, roof over your head, car, every single thing that you want, you will have to get with money. No if, buts, and maybes. And it's so easy to get lost into that materialistic mindset, especially if you're making as much money as fucking Conor McGregor is making. The guy can probably fucking buy me and everything that I have. Combine that with him finishing his ultimate goal of becoming a UFC double champion. He has now completed his lifelong goal and has an opportunity to make a buttload of money. He takes the boxing fight with Floyd Mayweather, which we all knew he was gonna lose. I mean, come on. He did put up a fight though, I'll give him that. He did put up a fight, but he lost. He made a buttload of money, came back a year later to Khabib, which he also made a buttload of money, and then the Cerrone fight, whatever, to just get back in the win column, and then Dustin Poirier both times. I think looking back at it now, we cannot expect Conor McGregor to be the same after that Khabib fight. I mean, that fight had the most amount of hatred, the most amount of buildup that any fight in the history of the sport has ever had, and he lost that. Everybody was watching that fight and he lost it. That's gotta hurt on another level. But he probably would have done better if he didn't accept that money fight with Floyd Mayweather and he continued training, continued focusing on Khabib. He probably maybe won. Maybe. I think it's pretty obvious that money ruined McGregor's career. I mean, before the money he was winning, he got extremely lazy and demotivated and just started losing, and now hasn't fought in like 3 years. Let's see the next fighter I picked. Let's see what his career got ruined by. Jon Jones.
You said you could take me down 100 times out of 100 times, right? And that's what you're gonna do, right? I challenge you to get me down 5 times in that 5-round fight. You won't be able to do that. Maybe you will get me down once. I believe in my whole heart that I'll get you down too. But the difference is, when I get you down, your face will open up. There is nothing you can do to stop me from coming at you round after round with the most malicious techniques I know. You will lose this fight, Daniel Cormier. I want you to believe it. Every ounce of training you put in leading up to this fight will be a waste of your life.
Jon Jones is one of the greatest fighters of all time. I think there's no denying that. Whether he's number 1, number 2, or number 3 in your list, he is up there. I mean, just take a quick glance at his record. Rashad Evans, Lyoto Machida, Rampage Jackson, Shogun Rua. I mean, these names are classic fighters, absolute warriors. But we're not here to talk about what went right in his career. We're here to talk about what went wrong. And since 2014, he's only had approximately 1 fight per year. 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18 all had 1 fight per year. That is absolute insane for a champion his level. Now, the reason of this inactivity was there were a bunch of pictograms.
All these things about pictograms and picograms. See there, exactly.
In his system, which he got suspended for, I don't know, it was a bunch of times. He got suspended a bunch of times. Then he got a good streak running where he fought 2 times in 2019 and 1 time in 2020 early on. A solid 3 fights in like a year, but all those 3 fights were against, let's be honest, mid-tier fighters. I mean, Anthony Smith, Thiago Santos, and Dominic Reyes really should have been easy pickings for Jon Jones. And Thiago Santos even took him to a split decision. So understandably, he realized he's getting worse. He needed to take a step back. You know, he needed to take a break a little bit. I completely understand that. Go and take your break. And he also decided in that break that he is going to try and get up to heavyweight. Completely understandable. Now you might be asking me, how long did this take? A year and a half? At the maximum 2 years maybe? 3 years this guy didn't touch the octagon. Now you tell me, how does bulking up 20 pounds take 3 years? Please tell me. I get he's trying to get ready. You know, it's a different weight class, so wrestling is different, striking is different. I get that. But it shouldn't take you 3 years to try and get up to heavyweight. I think he's lying. I think it was a mixture of, there were some steroids in the system that he knew if he got back into being an active fighter, he would probably get tested positive. Also, Francis Ngannou was at that time a champion. Stipe Miocic was at that time near his prime, so I think he was low-key ducking them. Came back May, fought Gon, who was completely starstruck and submitted him in the first round, and then again nothing. That fight happened at the start of 2023. We are now nearly at the end of 2024, and again there's another heavyweight champion which is looking good, Tom Aspinall, that I think he's ducking. He did have an injury 6-8 months I think it was, but that time has passed. I genuinely think that the reason Jon Jones ruined his career was because he was too scared to fight certain opponents. I think early in his career when he was young, he would have dusted these guys, but now that he is older, he realized he can't really do the things that he did a couple of years back. So he's ducking his opponents so he doesn't ruin his GOAT status career. So money and fame ruined Conor McGregor's career. A mixture of a lot of things ruined Jon Jones's career, but majority it was him ducking and steroids. Now, what the hell ruined Khamzat Chimaev's career? Now, before we get into that, if you don't mind, if you can follow my Twitch real quickly, it's right here. We're going to be streaming active streams. I just got to get shit set up, but it should be like here. Ignore the name, weird ass name. I can change it only after 2 months, but please, if you can follow it, would appreciate it. Now, I would make a sick intro like I did for Jon Jones and Conor McGregor, but genuinely, Khamzat Chimaev's aura has gone so far down that I cannot bring myself to make a cool edit of him. I think he genuinely has more callouts than fights, and these are the gist I found in like 5 minutes of research. There are probably way more, but he hasn't fought any of these people. Khamzat Chimaev might have one of the biggest, if not the biggest fall off I think in combat sports. The guy went from being talked about like he was gonna be the first triple champion to now not knowing if he's ever gonna fucking fight again. Where did it all go wrong? He was on like a 10, 11, 12 fight winning streak. He absolutely dismantled Kevin Holland with the wrestling. Where did it go wrong? But he fought Gilbert Burns after that, which gave him a run for his money. Dropped him. He didn't really get dominated on the wrestling part. In the stand-up he was good, but Khamzat did win that. But then a year and a half goes by, and then he fights Kamaru Usman in middleweight, not in welterweight where Kamaru Usman has been dominated. In middleweight, his first time I think stepping into middleweight. This is Khamzat Chimaev's true weight class. On many occasions he hasn't been able to make weight for welterweight. So in this middleweight bout where he is going against a wrestler, he can truly show us that he's levels above everybody, right? No, Kamaru Usman takes him to a split decision in which he arguably won. Kamaru Usman, for me, I watched that fight live. Kamaru Usman, for me, I think did enough to at least get a draw out of that. Khamzat just looked poor on the feet in the wrestling. He had dominant positions in the fight, don't get me wrong, but he just didn't do nothing. He does have a fight scheduled with Robert Whittaker on UFC 308. He does have it scheduled, but with Khamzat Chimaev that means nothing. Also, the guy got caught promoting a crypto pump and dump. Now scratch him might having the worst fall off. He does have the worst fall off because of those three things: sickness, injury, and just him. Also, it doesn't help that this entire time he cannot make weight. For majority of his fights, he's calling out people from welterweight, middleweight, light heavyweight. He might even call out Pantoja. Who knows? Who genuinely knows? Now, what is the conclusion of this video, you might be asking? The conclusion of this video is you can have the money and fame of Conor McGregor. You can have the IQ and techniques of Jon Jones. You can even have the hype as much as Khamzat Chimaev. The thing that ruins 98% of MMA fighters' careers is inactivity. All of these fighters have shown cases of inactivity, and all of these fighters have fallen off dramatically. If your fighter is starting to become slowly inactive, that means that he will most likely fall off.